What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the 4 for 4 Philly Fan Podcast. I am back from spring training. It was awesome. It was lit. It was so nice not having to really worry about the end result of any sporting event. But, we're back, and I plan on pumping out the videos better than ever. So if you are new and you do love Philly sports, Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, and the Philadelphia Union, this is your place. So if you are new, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for all news and updates and everything of the above right here on the 4 for 4 Philly Fan Podcast. But let's get into it. James Harden, man. The Sixers, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, they look great. I know that the game against Dallas, you lose that one, and it feels like the world is ending. You know, you don't have Embiid the night before against Miami. You win that one big. You have James Harden sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter, and then you play the next night with Joel Embiid, and you end up losing to the Dallas Mavericks, who just went crazy from three. They made like 25 three-pointers. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving both had 40 points. It was a bad look, especially for Joel Embiid, who just came back. And now everybody's saying, oh, we just won this game without Embiid. And then we get Embiid back and we lose this one. But, it's hard. It's hard to win a back-to-back, especially on the road. I know that he didn't play, but it's not like Embiid didn't do his job, because he did. He still scored, what did he score? He scored 35. He scored 35 points in that game. So you can't really blame it on Joel. Harden, as I said in the beginning, he's back. I mean, he is back. 27 points, 13 assists against the Mavericks, 23 points, 8 assists against Miami Heat. He was amazing against the Milwaukee Bucks. He looked like Houston James Harden. I mean, he really did. 38 points. He hits a couple clutch threes down the road. We ended up winning that game, coming back down from 20 points almost. Grayson Allen has a 20-point third quarter. They go up big. You put Maxey. Maxey starts going crazy. Maxey, ever since that Boston game, has been great. I mean, he's averaging over 26 points a game since this 5-game road stand. Maxey, Harden, Embiid. I mean, that's your big three. I know some people, complain about Tobias Harris, and yes, he is not worth the money. We know that. We have been saying that for 5 years now. We really can't do anything about it now, but it's just whatever at this point. But Maxey, Harden, insane as of late. And you saw that Tyrese, he's now back in the starting line as of last 5 games of the season. He has been back in the starting five, and it looks to really be helping his confidence level. He looks a lot more confident out there. He's shooting the ball more last night. He was great. Second game of a back-to-back. No James Harden last night. We go out there. We smoke the Minnesota Timberwolves. Embiid doesn't even play the whole fourth quarter. He has 39 points at the third, 22 points in the third quarter. Absolutely dominated Rudy Gobert, as he normally does, because I believe that Rudy Gobert is not a good basketball player. I don't care about his 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, because Embiid dominates Rudy Gobert every single time that he has a matchup against him. And here, and 32 points from him, 39 from Embiid, as I said, and Maxey, just amazing yet again, especially from three. He's making threes at a confident, clip, and it's really helping the Sixers a lot, because when you don't have a Tyrese Maxey putting up his 25 a game, over the last couple of games, I mean, you saw what happened against Boston the last 2 times we played against Boston. He had 6 points the one night, he had 8 points the other night against Boston, and we lose. Tyrese Maxey puts up 20 points in either one of those games, and we win. So Maxey is the key, and that's exactly what Harden and Embiid have been saying. If the Sixers want to achieve the ultimate goal of winning a championship, Tyrese Maxey has to be the Tyrese Maxey of the last 5 games. 26 points. He's taking over. He's making threes. He's He's driving to the lane, drawing contact, making the tough layups. If Tyrese Maxey can do that and James Harden can, turn back the clock a little bit and Embiid putting up historical numbers as he normally does, I mean, this run kind of proves that we can hang with anybody. We lose by a couple points to Boston. We lose, to Dallas on the second night of a back-to-back, but we were down like 20. We came back and we almost won the game. We were down 18, 19, 20 points to the Bucks. We came back. We won that one. James Harden looking amazing. Joel Embiid looking amazing. And then the last two nights, you have a high-scoring battle against the Indiana Pacers. You come out on top. Harden has 20 assists. Embiid has 40-plus points. Again, Maxey puts up crazy numbers, shooting great from three. Even Halliburton had 40 and 16, 40 and 15. So, it was a high-scoring game, and we still came out on top. Jalen McDaniels against the Pacers, 20 points. He started that game. We had no P.J. Tucker. We had no Tobias Harris. And he really stepped up. He's been stepping up. Niang stepped up big time against the Bucks. Thank God. Paul Reed has looked better as of late in the backup center role. He has. He's not the greatest in the world, as we all know, but he is becoming a very serviceable backup big man for Joel Embiid. And you got to think, when it is playoff time, Embiid is not going to, be sitting 10, 12, 15 minutes. He's not. He's going to be out there 40 minutes a game. So we need Paul Reed or P.J. Tucker or whoever wants to be the backup big for that point in time just to be serviceable, just to not allow the other team to score 1,000,000 points, because that has been the main problem in the Embiid era. You look back at 2019, you look back at the Toronto Raptors series. What happened? Why did we lose? Greg Monroe is the reason why we lost that game. He was -9 in 2 minutes. That is almost impossible. And, we're seeing that with Montrezl Harrell. He was playing very little minutes, and he was, the other team was just picking him apart and going right at him, and he's not grabbing the rebound. He's not playing defense. And I liked Trez. I thought he was a very good pickup at the time, but obviously it proved to not be a good pickup because he can't rebound. He's an undersized big. And, we've taken that Paul Reed route, and it has been working out a lot better than the Montrezl Harrell experiment ever did with this Sixers team. So you're starting to really see the playoff rotations get worked in here at the end of the season. You have you have Paul Reed, you have Jalen McDaniels, you have Niang, and you have, Melton now coming off the bench, who has looked better. DeAnthony Melton, we all know, is a very good 3-and-D player. He's an athletic wing. He's an athletic guard who can grab a rebound, who can make a three, who plays really good defense. He's always near the ball. He's always, getting the steal. He's always making threes. And yes, he has been inconsistent at times. But if you really look at it, we just need DeAnthony Melton for defensive purposes because we have Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Joel Embiid putting up 20-plus, 30-plus a game. So I don't need DeAnthony Melton to score 20 points. I don't need McDaniels to score 20 points ever, really. I mean, it helps, obviously. You don't win that game without Jalen McDaniels' 20 points against the Pacers. And even you don't win that game against the Bucks without McDaniels' 8 points against the Bucks. So you need serviceable players off the bench. And McDaniels and Niang and Paul Reed and Melton, they are those guys who are serviceable bench players. We're not going to find a Malcolm Brogdon just sitting there in free agency right now. We're not. It's not possible. That's why the Celtics grabbed him when they did, because he's a very good backup guy. He's probably, up for Sixth Man of the Year. He probably will win it, and as he should. I mean, the Boston Celtics take the Cavaliers the other night into overtime. Yes, I know that they blew a lead and ended up losing that game, but they don't even come close without Tatum, Horford, and Robert Williams, without Malcolm Brogdon, who's putting up 20 points a game every time. That Tatum, Brown, Horford those guys are out. But you do have a guy like DeAnthony Melton who can lock down the opposing player. On the other side, like a Tyrese Halliburton, I know he had 40 and 16, but Buddy Hield didn't even have 15 points. And that was DeAnthony Melton's guy. So if you really look at it like that, the Sixers are finding their stride at the right time. 4-1. You look at that 6-game stretch that I talked a lot about before, my trip. And, 3-3 is not bad when you look at it, because then you go on and you win 3 straight after that. You beat the Bucks. You beat the Pacers and the Timberwolves on a back-to-back. Now you're off for the next 3 days, and you have a game Friday, finally at home against the Portland Trailblazers with James Harden, who's going to play, with Maxey, with Embiid. They look healthy. They look good together. And they were saying it the other day that when there is a long road trip like that in the NBA, it kind of brings guys together. It helps the team. It creates the chemistry that you need to make a finals run. And that's exactly what we are looking at right now. The Sixers a month ago probably do not win that game against the Bucks. They don't. And the Sixers of years past do not win that game against the Milwaukee Bucks. You can't tell me that James Harden, not being here is going to help you beat the Bucks when you're down 20 points at the end of the third quarter. Normally when that happens, the Sixers just curled up in a ball and they died. And then we looked on to the next game, and then it was that was that. But now you're coming back from down 10. You're coming back down from 15. We've seen it multiple times this season. The Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Bucks now. I mean, these are teams that if you want to win a championship, you're going to have to beat, especially the Milwaukee Bucks, who we are now 2-1 against in the regular season. We match up well against them. Every year we've matched up well against the Milwaukee Bucks. We've just never had the opportunity to play them in a playoff series. And it's looking like if the Sixers remain the third seed, I know they're only 2.5 out from Boston, and they're like 3 games back from Milwaukee in the 1 seed. I don't know if that's a possibility at this point. I know we do play the Bucks and we play the Celtics one more time each this season, so we're going to have to really see what happens with that. But when you really look at it, the Sixers, this is probably the best team that Joel Embiid has had in his career. You have James Harden, you have Tyrese Maxey, you have a serviceable bench, you have PJ Tucker, who's a defensive, beast. He just takes the best player on the opposing team, and he takes him, and he's just a pest. It's not even that he's like a Matisse Thybulle or a Ben Simmons level of defender, when we had them, because they were our defensive guys. But PJ Tucker, he's just a pest, and he gets under your skin, and he knows, how to do this. And he's been doing it for a long, long time. He has a championship ring with the Milwaukee Bucks. He went to multiple conference finals with the Heat, with the Rockets. Like he's a veteran. He's a veteran in this game. He's on his last contract. And you can't tell me that a guy like PJ Tucker doesn't want to maybe add one more ring to his resume. So when you look at all that, the Sixers could be a scary team for some teams in the playoffs. And who knows what really happens. I mean, we obviously have to finish out the regular season, the last, 15, 16 games left of the season. And we have to really see what's going to go on with James Harden and Joel Embiid come playoff time, because, we have had these consistent, unfortunate events happen every time we hit the playoffs. Embiid breaks his face. Embiid, has a thumb injury. Embiid, playing on a torn meniscus. James Harden, what is his most criticized event? It's those playoff games in Houston where he sometimes falls short. And you have Tyrese Maxey, who is a very young player in this league, who, is finding his stride and confidence right now. And it's a perfect time to do it because we're about to hit that playoff level of basketball. And you're going to need a Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Joel Embiid to really step in and get you that win and finally, hopefully, get past the second round of the playoffs, because that's going to determine a lot for next season. And, I hope that this team can stay together as much as possible, especially the big three, Harden, Embiid, and Maxey. But we'll have to see and wait, and hopefully we don't even have to talk about that very much. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you are new, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel 444 Philly Fan Podcast. All my socials will be in the link below. Thank you all so much for watching.